How's it going, y'all? Titan Smash MTG, and today we're going to be looking at something very different than what we usually do on the channel. We're going to be looking at AEW Elite GM. I was lucky enough to get access to the closed beta of this game, so today is the very first day it's went out, and I've got to play it for a couple of hours now, and I wanted to just kind of give some overall thoughts on it, show you all some gameplay and what we can experience and expect to see from the game as we go on here, as well as look at things that I hope we improve with the game later on and add to it. But I'm happy to get access to this. This is something very different than what I usually do on the channel. But I'm a huge wrestling fan. I love AEW, so it's really cool to get the opportunity to play this. So let's jump into it and take a look at this game. It's not the usual content, but hopefully y'all enjoy it. Let's go. So for those of you unaware, AEW Elite GM is basically a game where you're, just like it says, you're a general manager of AEW. And what you're doing in this game is kind of booking up matches, setting up the weekly show like you do on Dynamite, signing wrestlers, managing their health, their stats, and all this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of customization and abilities we get into in this game. But basically, it kind of it holds your hand at the beginning. You have some tutorial type missions where you go out, do some basic stuff. But in the end, you're booking weekly shows of Dynamite as you go on and progress through the story here, signing new talent, managing your money. It's one of those things that it's unique because there's not a lot of kind of games like that out here. And I've actually never got to play a GM game like this before, so this is my first foray into that kind of thing. But honestly, just for the few hours we've played this so far, it's actually been pretty cool. Some things I want to improve on, obviously, but there's a lot of potential here with this game. So we'll start with the game design and animations here. Essentially what you do is for most of these things, you pick 3 different wrestling matches per show. You do this on a weekly basis. You pick 3 different matches per show. You can set these up as singles matches, tag team matches. There's a lot of different options here. You're given a budget at the start of each show, so you're using that budget to sign your wrestlers, kind of min-max this as most as you can to get the most talent for the most of your money that you can afford to spend. Afterwards, you can slot them into different types of matches and all that kind of thing. There's also different abilities and things like that in the game, so there's a lot of different ways to customize it, which is really cool. The animations of this game are really neat here, I think, but they can use some more work. As you'll see at the beginning here, it's very, very fluid as far as coming out to the ring, and that never gets old seeing all that and how it works. The fighting itself was a little bit kind of... Some of the animations are really, really cool, other ones are very basic, and they can get repetitive, and I think it's all RNG as far as how those moves go off. But there'll be some matches where you may see somebody use the same move 3 times in a row, and that's just it. However, some matches do have some finishers. Special wrestlers have their own finishing moves here, which they highlight and have some really cool animations for. We'll take a look at all those kind of things later on at the end of this video. But as a whole, it's kind of fun to sit and watch these. Each little match on here lasts about 10 seconds. So it's very, very quick. It's one of those things, if you want to just get skip to the results and get those, you can. But it's really fun to watch these kind of characters and to see what all they do. All the high-flying maneuvers are actually pretty cool to watch. So career mode in this game is really neat. It's all hosted by Tony Schiavone. Tony kind of walks you through each mission here. And again, it starts out really slow, like a tutorial you'd expect in most games. But towards the end, it actually gets really hard. There's one mission I'm on right now where I've tried it 4 or 5 different times, and I just can't really quite get the goal yet for it. Because you're trying to balance your money, manage your wrestler's health, as well as the popularity of the show, gain viewers, and all that kind of thing. There's actually a lot to take in here, and for this, especially this to be a beta game, it's actually really in-depth, and I'm curious to see where they go for this in the full version. I don't know how long the career mode will last. Currently, I'm on mission 8 out of 10 in career mode, and I'm assuming there's going to be more missions as a whole career, but this may just be a tutorial, so if anything, I may be getting stuck on a tutorial mission here, which makes me kind of dumb, but it's pretty cool so far. So there's also a challenges mode in here, which at the time of recording, there are 60 different challenges in this thing, and again, I'm sure there'll be more added as the game is released and is built upon. Some of these challenges are just 1-week challenges, some of them are 2 to 3 here, but essentially you're given a pre-constructed roster. You can still assign other people to it, but some of these challenges require you to use X wrestlers and X wrestlers here. Some of them may have you use certain stipulations or certain weapons in the match. There's all these kind of things that you have to do in these things. So it's really cool. It's a very specific way of building things, but it really challenges you to kind of be creative to make all the requirements be met in these games. And it's just a really kind of cool change of pace here from the career mode of this game. Now, even in the closed beta, there actually is online multiplayer in this game. There's casual matches already available and good to go. I think this is very cool, especially have this in beta matches. It kind of seems to match with your rank pretty closely. I've done a few of these, and it's always matched with sort of even people. I will say this is one mode that I think could use some work, though, because the way it seems here is you're doing a few weeks at a time, kind of matches that you're setting up for, but there's no real dialogue or way to explain that when you get into the game. So it's like it kind of just throws you in there against somebody, and you're given wrestlers to pick out and sign. But there's no guidelines as far as to what it is, so maybe I missed that somewhere, but it seems like that's one thing that could just use some more explanation, because had I known it was a 2-week match, I would have signed my people differently or allocated money one way instead of the other. I don't know if this ever changes from challenge to challenge, so that's one thing that even though it's really neat, you can play people online in PvP mode, it could use a little bit more dialogue and explanation of how that kind of works. Now, as far as things I'd like improved to the game is, again, this is in closed beta, so there's a lot of different things that they're going to fix later on. While I think the customization and animations of all the characters are cool, you'll notice there's a lot of characters in this game who just kind of have the black silhouettes and not the animations or models of them. Obviously, getting everybody loaded into here should be a big thing, and I expect they'll do that when the game's fully released. This is closed beta, so you expect this kind of thing to happen. Also, like I said about some of the wrestling move animations, with the RNG of those, it can get kind of repetitive sometimes. So just adding more of those, getting a little bit of variety in there, making sure you're not just doing 3 clotheslines in a row and then ending a match, that kind of thing. As far as the pace of play in the game, it's actually pretty good. Like, it starts off really simple. Some of the stuff in career mode, like I said, does get a little bit challenging. I think it could do for just a little bit better way of kind of explaining some of the stuff. It gives a very brief explanation of each of the different stats and characteristics of all the characters, but there's so much of it going on that it does get kind of hard to manage all that in one place, and I don't really know how you improve upon that, honestly. It's one of those things, if you're playing on a mobile device, you've only got so much room to show stuff. This is a game that translates really well to PC, where you break all these kind of stats out more and show them. But still, as a whole, they do a pretty good job of having all this in a nice, compact place. And if you need more information, you can't expand on it. It's just something that I think they can improve on the AI a little bit here. So as you can see, you can choose between different avatars and different wrestlers to use there. And some of these wrestlers have different little icons beside them. So like anybody that's in the Inner Circle or anybody in Dark Order, they actually get special stat bonuses for being in that group, which is actually a cool way of doing things. And a lot of those kind of work together. So say if you have 2 Dark Order members together in a match, they actually get a stat boost there, and that's a really cool way to do things. You can also buy equipment and buy inventory stuff here, but whether it be with real cash in the game or things that you earn and unlock over time. I'm not messing with any of that in the beta just because, you know, it's a closed beta. I don't know if her stuff actually transfers over or not. But it's cool that you can be able to unlock stuff like this, apply it to certain wrestlers and matches, and get some stat boost there. It's just another level of customization that's really neat to see. So we'll see here, looking at all the finishers here, you'll see that we have the lockjaw right here, put it down. These are really quick animations, things that don't take a lot of time to do. The One Wing Angel, Kenny Omega throwing it down. Nobody kicks out of that thing. The Crossroads, very simple. It happens. The coffin drop animation, super cool here. I like seeing all these kind of things, really neat. Fear Factor, you got Penta up there doing his thing, throwing it down. Some Dirty Dancing, another animation I think is really cool here. The Beast Bomb. Beast Bomb's one of the coolest ones on here, I think. Throw kick, whatever, nothing too crazy there. The uppercut, like I see, like some of these are just kind of boring. The clothesline, I mean, it's a clothesline, it's not a finisher. Still, I'm glad they put these kind of things in here. It does spice it up from time to time. But again, some of these are actually super cool. The Cemetery Driver here is super sweet. You got the Falcon Arrow. Kind of similar animation to one of the other ones though, so again, just something that have a little bit more variety. They've even got the MJF scarf on the Rocket, so that's super cool to see there. Orange Punch, getting the oranges thrown down there, super neat. The Quick Draw, probably the coolest one on here, some Hangman doing some quick draw action. Finally, Scorpion Death Drop for all you stingers out there. So that's what we got here for AEW Elite GM. As a whole, I think this game has a lot of potential. Again, this is closed beta, so there's still a lot of time for them to change things, improve upon it. But I think they got a really good base here. The game's challenging, which I like, because a lot of these games I feel like are too casual and too easy. So they've said they wanted this to be an in-depth GM kind of thing, and I think they've got a good starting place on this so far. If there's anything in the video here that you didn't see that you have questions about, feel free to leave a comment below and ask. I'll try to answer to the best of my abilities here. I think there's still signups available for this closed beta, though from what I've read, a lot of people signed up and haven't got access to it, so I feel very lucky and fortunate we got this. But if you have questions, drop them below. Again, there's things they need to improve upon on here. Get the character models loaded in for everybody here, make the animations a little bit varied. There's a lot of different things they can add and improve upon here. But as a whole, they've got a really good starting foundation. The UI is pretty nice for most of the stuff, and I think this game has a lot of potential. So hopefully you all enjoyed this. Again, this is something different than what I usually do here, but hopefully you liked it. Thanks for watching, y'all. See you next time. Let's go.